Another one of the honours that's been given to me tonight is to present Luke with a life membership. I'm not going to say much more about Luke tonight because I think whatever I say won't tell the full story, won't really do him justice, other than saying that it's an honour for me to give Luke, in recognition of the hard work that he's done over the years and the benefit that we're all getting to give him a life membership, and also a small token of our gratitude on his retirement. The only thing I would say about Luke's life membership as something that is given for someone for the hard work, I'm not sure sometimes that we shouldn't also give life membership or some sort of recognition to people's partners and families. I don't think we should ever lose sight of what's given up by people sometimes to represent people, and the things that the family also give up. The times when Luke can't be home at tea time, or he can't go to some functions, he may not be able to go to school, plays and all those sorts of things because he's got other things to do. So I don't think we should ever lose sight of that as well. Sorry that there's a little bit of emotion in my voice, but I think that's something that we really need to drive home to people when they look at what people are doing, and when we look at sometimes when we criticise people whether they're doing a good job or not. I won't go any further in that, but
Did my family come here? Everybody, please. Well,
Did you take 2 weeks for that one? Or
I bet you it'll take me about 10 minutes. So just, don't worry. It won't be too long. Because I'm nervous and a bit, really chuffed really. So, but look, the first thing I would have is my family here, because everything I've done with this district, everything I've done in the community, we've done, all of us. I think I'm really glad Trevor raised that, because there's not a thing that I've done with this district. These people haven't been behind me, my family haven't been behind me, they've been with me every step of the way. Sometimes, it's like Trevor said, it's a great sacrifice, but without a family that's going to support you in something like this, you simply can't do it. And that I know people often say, thanks to my family. Well, without my family, there wouldn't be Luke van der Muelen standing here at this stage. So that's the first people. It's a great honour to really have a retirement function where so many people come from so far away on a Saturday night to say, see you later. I mean, that's just very moving as well. I'm really wrapped in that, and there's so many people here that have been so important to me for so long, and will continue to be important to me for a long time in the future. So I thank you very much. I'm going to talk a little bit about the district and the union and stuff like that. And we started this 27 years ago. We were a little sub-branch of 300 staff workers, and in those days we used to wear white overalls, and people in the trade union movement didn't give much consideration to us about anything. But from that sub-branch we built a union that's now the industry union, that's basically protected people's jobs and conditions in this community and others, including Stawell, Mount Beauty, Newport, and if anybody else wanted to join our union along the way, we would have brought them on board, and we would have tried to look after them, because I and we really think unions are everything. I know that the government's trying to do everything they can to get rid of unions, but I think... But back then, in 1989, we had 10,800 people working directly in the SEC in this community. They then said for every one of those jobs, there was 4 jobs. You can give me an idea what that is. There was 16 unions then. Every time we had to meet about something, there'd be rooms full of people, and it was very difficult. We had a power industry at that time that was actually painting a picture for the future, where there was going to be mines and power stations built 50 years into the future. Anybody that's been in this room for a while, that's been in the power industry, would remember that. We were promised a future. Anyway, along comes this false promise that we're going to fix everything up. We're going to restructure. We're going to corporatise. We're going to bring in enterprise bargaining. You know, those sorts of things. And from that's going to come the trickle-down effect. You know, we're all going to benefit from this. A little bit of pain today and for some gain tomorrow. Jim Smith at that stage, when I became the secretary of the sub-branch, Jim Smith announced a 4,000 reduction in the 23,000 SECV workforce at that time. And basically what happened is it was like an atomic bomb hit this place. People started leaving the area, leaving their jobs because they thought they were going to go to other places. Around that time, the ACTU and their wisdom, and what I would say, I think they did it quite deliberately, they announced union rationalisation. So what they did to our union, the FEDFA, they basically said, you're significant. You can hang around for a while, but you can't recruit any new people. You can virtually die on the vine. What they said to most of the other unions at the time, you're other. People can gobble you up immediately. And then they picked two of their unions that they thought were going to be the ones that they wanted to keep into the future, the ASU and the ETU. And they basically told the rest of us, we can bugger off. Well, that little sub-branch said, my arse, we're not taking that. That's not what we want. We are not joining the ASU. We are not joining the ETU. We are not going to go along with this plan, and we're going to have a real struggle against this. And when I talk about families being involved, all our families are involved. I see a lot of faces in the room here. All our families were involved. Because if we hadn't have got our family and community involved, we would have got done at that very juncture in time. So in 1996, they privatised Hazelwood. It was the first place privatised. By that time, we had 2,500 workers left in the SEC. It was a reduction of 5,800 direct jobs. Later on, the Productivity Commission recognised this community as the most hard-hit community in the country as a result of restructuring. And there we are with our little union. And there we were on our own with our union officials, like Leo tried to say and stuff like that, telling us to go away, leave the scene, we know better, you don't understand the big picture, and all that sort of thing. Between 1989 and 1996, we got involved in the Public First campaign. We basically said, we don't want the SEC privatised, we don't think it's good for our community, so we brought about the formation of the FEDFA Latrobe Valley sub-branch. So instead of there being the mobile sub-branch and the staff sub-branch and the Yallourn sub-branch, we brought all power industry workers in mines and stations together in one sub-branch. And that was just, if we hadn't have done that, that was another step that we took in the right direction. We were ridiculed at that time. I remember people used to basically say to me, you're a knuckle dragger, or you're a Neanderthal. You just don't understand the big picture. There was an ad in the Express at that stage that showed 3 pictures of an orchard. And the first picture was a dishevelled orchard with broken branches on the trees and stuff like that. And the second picture was a picture of all these trees that had been pruned and they all looked nice. And then the third picture was a picture of an orchard with all this red fruit on it. And that's what they basically promised us. They basically said, let these 4,000 workers go, except that the ASU and the ETU are going to be the only unions in existence, and all the rest can go away and you'll have Navarra tomorrow. Well, you know, that was just, we didn't go along with that promise, and I think we were right on that thing also. We also got our own award at that time, because that was a very important industrial thing. Because in those days, if you didn't have an award, you couldn't exist in the industrial landscape. So against all odds, we end up getting the FEDFA award, and you can remember the struggle we had getting that. Because in those days, what they used to do is if you were a unit controller or a dredger driver or something like that, or particularly for unit controllers, if you were a unit controller and you were in their union, the ASU, you got this pay rate. But if you stayed in the FEDFA, you got a lower pay rate. Same people doing the same work, one didn't have an award, one got a higher pay, the other didn't. But our members didn't give up and join the ASU. In fact, what happened, a lot of operators quit their union, the ASU, and said, we want to join the FEDFA and please cut my pay. That's how brave some people were. That's how good some people were. It was just terrific. We also defeated, there was an 18-month-long deregistration case against us because the ASU and the then GenVic decided we weren't allowed to survive in the industry anymore, so they ran what was called a Section 118A case against us, which was effectively a deregistration case. And again, what we said to that commissioner was Commissioner Hancock, and he got us in conference one time, and I said to him, you can wait till hell freezes over. We are never, ever, ever going to join the ASU or the ETU. We want our own union, we want our own board, and we're not taking no notice of anything you say in this deregistration case. We negotiated the first enterprise agreements with the then GenVic. Those enterprise agreements, and there were other unions around, and they just struggled against everything we tried to do. But those first enterprise agreements secured job security. They set up staffing structures. We got decent rosters. We kept defined benefit superannuation. We got classification structures. And we also got good pay increases. They've put people in a good place right through to this day. Those sorts of things. And not only that, we ran a jobs action campaign out of our own homes and everything, because when I talk about my family being involved and our families being involved, anyone that knows that, that was in one of our houses somewhere, in our lounges, because the union office wouldn't give us the facilities to do what we needed to do. They basically booted us out. So that's what happened in those days. So between 96 and 99, so the privatisation started, we negotiated enterprise agreements with all the power companies, and again, we got all those conditions carried over into the private companies, things that people said we would never be able to do. We did all that. All the above were achieved by a league, like I said, by a league of dedicated people. By then we got rid of that argument between mines and power stations because we realised that was a complete waste of time. Any arguments that were occurring within the workforce were a complete diversion from what the real argument that was about, and that was the privatisation of the electricity industry and the job loss that was going on. So we had lots of people, and not only that, we got lots of community support as well, because we always thought it was important. You can't do this without community support, particularly in Latrobe Valley, when a lot of people are unemployed, and you try and say to them, look, you need to be concerned about us losing our high-paid jobs. Well, if you can't connect those high-paid jobs directly to the community and the shops that they serve and the well-being that those jobs bring in, your community loses interest. So we maintain that community interest throughout. And like I said, we operated out of our homes. Between 99 and 2001, we fought one of the biggest fights that we ever had, and that was against Muelen Energy. We had another name for them at the time, but and some people in this room would know what that was, but given it's genteel night, I won't mention it. But Muelen Energy basically said when they got hold of these private power stations and mines, they said, don't worry fellas, you'll keep your job security, everything will be fine. Well, as soon as they got their foot under the door, got everything privatised and got established, along comes Muelen Energy. They put a document in front of us in the enterprise bargaining negotiations that said, there's the 7 fundamental principles, that cuts everything out of your current terms and conditions, and it's not negotiable.
Correct.
Now, we fought them for the best part of 2 years.
Yep.
That blue cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the amount of time our community spent on that is immeasurable. But it cost that company, they said it cost them $230 million. They eventually dragged us to their arbitration commission. The thing at issue there was, unless it was contrary to the public interest, the Commissioner had to terminate your bargaining, your enterprise agreement. We ran a very extensive public, public interest argument with Dr. Bob Birrell. He put a great case for us. The Commission basically just said, we don't need to take any notice of the public interest case whatsoever, because some time down the track, John Van Camp and another guy from the ASU did a deal with the company, and they ticked off that deal. It stripped all our conditions away from your lawn, and our lawn members have been fighting that ever since that day. Is it too long? I'll keep going. At that stage also, we shut down the power industry. And I looked at some TV a little while ago about that. And the power companies sued us. I think they sued me.
42 million.
You know, like, that was money.
Give or take a little.
If they had sued me 25,000, I would have been really concerned, because that's about the amount of money I had. But when they sued me collectively, all the power companies sued us. When they sued me collectively for 40-something million, I thought, well, good luck to you. You can find that much money from me. That'd be great. So then after fighting John Van Camp from 1992 to 2001, we finally formed the CFMEU Victorian Mining Energy District. We finally formed the Power Industry Union. And by that time, anybody that worked in a power station or mine was a member of ours. There was a few people that didn't want to join our union because our dues are a bit higher than some of the other unions, but we always had a view that you're better off paying $20 for a service than paying $5 for nothing. I mean, and so we charge people. We used to do. We had service throughout. Between 2001 and 2009, we liberated hundreds of redeployees from redeployee pools that were all over the SEC, because they left 800 of them behind, basically in what they used to call veg. We were basically told, hose that bit of concrete from that corner to that corner, and then when you finish, you hose it from that corner to that corner, and then when you finish, because what the plan was to bore them out of the jobs. That's how they were treated. So we got a lot of them back in. We ended up getting contract cleaners in our union. We ended up getting all the emergency services people to join our union. And we ended up getting Stawell Gold Mine to join our union. So we actually grew our union and we grew our influence. We ended up getting all the guys at Newport in our union, and we also got all the guys at AGL Hydro to join. We went from 5 to about 30 members. So, and also during that period after the Moore Briquette factory fire in 2003, now there's some people here from that area too. We did a deal with Metcris where we secured work from 2003 to 2014 for a lot of people in jobs that I'm sure if I could get them those jobs again now, they'd love to have them. You know, so, and we got ridiculed for that as well. In 2009, we were involved in a 134-day strike at Hazelwood with the diamond protection workers. Tia was one of the delegates there at the time. If we hadn't had Dave Kerrin there at the time, manning that picket line 24/7, we would have been RS. So, but we weren't RS, we actually won that blue again. And we got a good EBA in place, that's still in place today, and that's still serving members in emergency services right through to this time. Now, in 2013 at your lawn, we're involved in a 100-day lockout. I mean, that was an incredible period of time for the lawn workers. And everybody, lots of people said, you know, give this up and stop, and you're not going to get anywhere. We ended up getting an EBA in place. That's a good EBA. The only trouble is our relationships at your lawn are not what they should be, and I think that's an area that we need to do a lot of work. Now, we also, during that period of time, we also played a community role, as has been mentioned a bit by Dave. But when we saw something that we thought was wrong in the community, we thought we were in a position of responsibility to say something about it. And I'll give you some examples. That 4 months Princess Highway closure, and people said, oh, it's a drain this and a drain that. We basically said they allowed that mine too close to that highway. It was a regulator, government, mining management failure. They also, the Latrobe River collapse at the Muelen mine. They said, oh, the Latrobe Valley, the Latrobe River burst its banks. No, it didn't. They built a mine right up next to a river and it fell down. That's what happened. And we were the ones that said, this ain't no river overflowing, this is a failure. Then when the Muelen River collapsed, this was the Muelen River collapse through the Muelen mine. This was that diversion that they said was going to be able to stand a 1 in 100 year flood. It lasted 2.5 years and it was, you know. And again, that was a failure of regulators and management. Because basically what they say is we don't need unions involved, we don't need anybody to have a say about anything. It all can happen behind closed doors, in commercial confidence. We'll look after the community. Well, like hell they will. And then when that 14-day mine fire occurred, everybody was talking about how disastrous it was. We got on the TV as soon as we possibly could, and we said this is a fire that should never have occurred. If they had rehabilitated that mine properly, when they should have years ago, that fire shouldn't have occurred. And we put rehabilitation on the map. Unfortunately, I think it's sort of gone off the map a fair bit now. Now, all I'll say about all that is playing a role. That's because Trevor's right. A lot of people have been involved in this because that's what a union is. It's a lot of people. And there's presidents and secretaries and vice presidents and delegates and lodges and all that sort of stuff. But if there ain't all those people at least generally going in that direction, there's nothing. It doesn't matter how good the people at the top are. So there's, my view about all that is, my experience really was, wow. What a time that we've had from 1989 to 2016. What a time we're going to have too. I'll talk about that in a minute. But what a time we've had. And what a great honour it's been to be, a leader in a union of people that you've worked with. And, look, I'm an SEC guy through and through. I've worked in New Guinea. I've done lots of different jobs, but I've always come back to the SEC. I love the industry, I love the community, and I love the people in it. And to be able to be given the honour to be the president of a union that looks after those those people for all this time, well, we've had some fun, we've had some arguments, and we've had some tussles. But geez, what an honour it's been. And then to be, to be presented with a life membership, for that period of time for all of us. And it's just, thank you very much. It's just a great thing. Now, I did want to say something about, look, obviously there's some really serious future challenges facing people in the power industry. Trevor and his mates and power station and mine workers across the Latrobe Valley. I mean, if you look at what's going on in the industry, there's also talk about Hazelwood and its potential lifespan and how long it might go, and your lawn and places like that. I mean, there are really big challenges for us into the future, and a decent transition, not only for our members that work in those places, but for this community, because if the national government's going to make a decision about the environment or whatever, if they say we need to do X, Y, Z in Latrobe Valley to benefit the whole country, well then they also need to do Y, A and B in Latrobe Valley to help the community to transition to something that's decent. Because, and if the Latrobe Valley community and if our members don't fight for that, if we're waiting for the government to come up with an initiative, an idea, my experience will be you'll be waiting forever. It won't happen. I mentioned the Muelen workplace, something I've openly said to all our members. The workplace relations there is the pits. It's the worst place to work. It's a result of that lockout. If AGL Loyang think that's the way they should be going into their future, well then they're kidding themselves, because that relationship at Muelen is just the pits. Lockouts don't work. This whole enterprise bargaining, this conflict-driven enterprise bargaining, industrial relations system. And a lot of people might say, well, you're a powerful union, Luke. You went for that. You agreed with that. Well, if anyone wants to look at what I said earlier on about enterprise bargaining, I said it was crap then and I'm saying it's crap now. It's not a way for workers. and their employees to be dealing with serious day-to-day problems they have on the job, and I think that's a real problem. And obviously our Loy Yang members are, we've always struggled with EBAs. It's nothing new for us. I think our average EBA would probably go 14 months in solid negotiation. So we're dealing with one with RTL guys now that's been going for more than probably 3 years. Well, it's 2 years we've been waiting with that code compliance, but we started negotiating that a year before that. We're caught up in code compliance, this ABCC, in the power industry. You know, in our place, like everyone reckons this ABCC is about construction workers. We'll talk to Trevor. He works with RTL and find out why he can't get an EBA, because his boss is saying if the EBA is not code compliant, then we are not going to do the deal, and because we can't get government work. So that gets us right here with a problem. And on a national level, I think we are really facing a really big, serious challenge, and that's this double dissolution election that's currently on. You know, we are facing legislation from the Australian Building Construction Commission, the ABCC. Everyone knows about that. Everyone thinks, oh, that only applies to construction workers, doesn't it? Those bad construction workers down there, the ones that are causing all the trouble. Well, this ABCC, if it gets in, is going to bring a brand new secret police force into place. This secret police force can grab any worker, any trade union off the job, whenever they feel like, interrogate them, and if they want to talk to a lawyer or their family, they're going to be forbidden. And we're basically saying nothing about this double dissolution election. Nobody's saying a damn thing about it. You know, individuals can currently be fined for $10,000. Those fines are going to be going up to $34,000 for an individual. You can imagine what the union fines would be. Can someone tell me what the figure there would be? It'd be hundreds of thousands. You know, we had the Hayden Royal Commission. I call it a show trial because that's what I think it was. I think that we should call it for what it is. They come up with 90 findings or recommendations, and based on that, we need to have this election. Not a single CFMU official's been actually found guilty of a damn thing yet. We haven't even been to court yet, and we need this ABCC legislation in to control workers, not banks. They'll be fine, thank you very much. There's not going to be a corruption commission that applies to everybody in the community, just to workers. And I really sort of think that people should think very carefully about who they vote for, and they should look for people who've stood up against this ABCC throughout and vote for them into the future. Because I think this is going to be really bad legislation. And this is also at a time when we've got under and unemployment at record levels. We've got wages growth at the lowest levels they've ever been. We've got industrial action at the lowest levels, and union membership at the lowest levels, and we've got real union power. You know, they keep on talking about all these unions have got all this power. Ask the Loy Yang guys currently who are trying to take protected action how they can use this power. Before they can use it, they've got to go to this court and that court and that court and that court and that court, and then maybe they get a little bit of a blow every now and again. I mean, so let's not talk that workers have got strike rights anymore. That's a pipe dream, and we're talking about more legislation. So really what I'd like to say to my colleagues, you know, who are still out there in power stations and mines, you know, they're going to be there in the future. The past demonstrates that a united district, a united CFMEU, and a united union and community is the only answer to these things. So any differences that we've got within our ranks, we need to get rid of them tomorrow, quickly like that, and we need to concentrate on the challenges ahead. And one thing I have said to Trevor, you know, I'm not going to the moon. You know, I'm retiring. I'm not going to the moon. If any of my colleagues or anybody wants to say g'day or say, well, how do you think we should deal with this or deal with that? You know, I'd be honoured to try and help, because I intend to stay in the community. I intend to get involved where I can, and I hope to. I'm sure I'll be involved with a lot of people in this room into the future. So thank you very much.
He is retiring. You're not getting your presents back.
probably what I haven't done tonight in my inexperience of being involved in some of these functions. I probably haven't given everybody a fair go that might want to say something tonight. So